We had our praise this morning. I felt like we needed to dance a little bit. I don't know if you're at your desk like, get it. Mm. So remember, this week we're talking about I Factor, and we'll probably be in this book the whole month. If you haven't been following this week, you should get it. It's I Factor by Van Moody. Go to my website at www.livefreebeautiful.com. Again, www.livefreebeautiful.com. Or you can go and say, yes, I want to check out her church a little bit more. I co-pastor with my husband, my love, Pastor Cedric Barrett. And you can just go to purposechurchintl.org. Again, www.purposechurchintl.org. It's going to be the bomb. Check it out, and you can go ahead and order that book from there. And this is going to be something you need to study in detail. I'm just going to give you little excerpts and glances at the book, but I want you to get in there, own the book, get the book, get the audio book. The audio book, it takes 4 hours to read every chapter. Some of you might be like me. I like to absorb information really quickly. So let's just dive in this morning because we only got 5 minutes. Go ahead, share this. Tell people you need to hurry up and get on because you know she's 10 o'clock and 10:05 she's gone. 10:05, 10:07 she's gone. So you need to go ahead and get them on now so they can get their morning coffee with Pastor Latoya. All right, here we go. This morning we're still in I Factor. Remember, we were in the chapter 1, More Than Meets the Eye. We talked about your unique factor, and then we talked about what are those self-sabotaging ways that you have underneath the surface. You're a Titanic. You're building a Titanic, but you need some small ingredients to make sure that you don't sink the ship. Now, I want to get into something a little bit more detail. The section in the book here that they're having right here, there is specified the I in lie. Whew. The I in lie. A lot of times, we're not really focusing on the sales pitch we're giving to make sure that it's genuine and authentic. Sometimes there might be an I in your lie. I know I'm just, God, Pastor Toya, why do you do that? Because I love to do self-work for me too. And so if I'm doing it, I love to share it. So here, let's go into it. It says, how does the I factor precipitate a person's downfall? One of the stories that best illustrates my point happens to be a man that probably you have heard of. In 2007, his name was on one of Times Magazine's most influential people in the world. He was the National Father of the Year in 1996. He appeared on Sesame Street, Saturday Night Live, the Olympics, The Late Night with Jimmy Fallon, just to cite a fraction of his television experience. This man has won 12 Emmy Awards as of December 2014. His salary was $10 million per year. His personal brand seems untouchable, and his celebrity credentials were strong. Just 3 months later, in February 2015, he was suspended from his job without pay and had lost not only his influence, but his credibility too. I'm sure you know who I'm describing. Former NBC News anchor Brian Williams. Child, did he talk about Brian Williams in this? Yes, he did. So I want us to get into why is he talking about Brian Williams, okay? It says Williams was part of a fairly exclusive lineage. At one time in the United States, before the days of cable news, the most powerful voices in media belonged to the men who occupied the anchor chair at 3 major networks, ABC, CBS, and NBC. With recognizable voices and just the right amount of gravitas, they were media kings. When they reported the news of the day, people believed them. People had no reason not to believe them. Viewed as trustworthy American icons, they held public trust for decades. When Brian Williams ascended to the helm of NBC Nightly News in December 2004, the evening news anchor job was still admirable and considered quite an accomplishment, even though by the time a host of other news broadcasters had joined the Big Three, Williams quickly became one of America's favorite news anchor, a popular, reliable source for important information and stories of each day. He typically outscored his competitors in the ranking of the evening news broadcast. By all appearances, he had reached the pinnacle of his success. And had he chosen to do so, he should have been able to cruise his way into retirement from the seat behind the evening news desk. The respect he had gained in about 10 years was lost And did he lose? Big time. He did not lose over a major scandal or some type of serious journalistic error. He lost it because somewhere in the midst of all the fame and the fortune, he was not satisfied. He wanted more acclaim, more ahs, more ahas, perhaps a chance to show a little more bravado on the show screen. In the quest for more than he already had, he told a lie. Actually, he told several lies. But the ones that really got him in trouble was that he had been in Iraq in 2003, riding in a helicopter that came under heavy enemy fire and was hit by a rocket propeller grenade. I don't know how many of you remember this story, but I remember this story, and I remember definitely all of us remember Brian Williams and his acclaim to success. And we watched him go up, and then we watched him spin down. How many of you have watched people that you say, oh my God, now that is the next this, or that is the next this, or oh my God, they're going to be the next success. I have to watch them, and I have to watch how they get to where they're going. How many of you have really done that, and then later on you go, what happened to them? And as you dig beneath the surface, you found out that there was some personal internal issues that they just didn't deal with. Why would Brian Williams, after being in this place, feel as if he needed to lie? It wasn't anything externally. It was something internally. It's something internally that makes you agree with greed. There's something internally that makes you agree with, I need more. There's something internally that makes you agree with foul play and sell yourself short from success. See, God's types of success is not a cheap thrill. It is methodically and strategically gotten, but it's always going to be methodically built from inside out. Strategically built from inside out. I know sometimes I, myself, personally get caught up in the crowd and in the hula and the hoorays. And whenever I feel like I'm losing my center, I know I'm getting ready to lose my head. And I always tell my kids, and you then will lose your footing. I want you to hear this. This is my quote. If you lose your center, you're going to lose your head. And if you lose your head, you're going off the journey and you're going to lose your footing. Listen, this morning, I want you to do a personal evaluation. What are some things that you really did maintenance? Remember, we started this week off about appraisal values. And I remember looking at appraisals for many, many years. And when we would look at the appraisals, we would look at how the person maintained their home from the inside out. How are you maintaining your home, your person, from the inside out? Are you really maintaining your value? Are you just caring about just making it and making it day to day and looking like success? Well, let me tell you something. Success has this funny attribute to it. It will peel your inside out. What do I mean by that? Eventually, we will see what's going on the inside. All right, catch you later. Love you. This has been Pastor Latoya. This was your morning coffee. I'll see you tomorrow talking about the same thing. Let's go out and worship.